Okay, Billy Miller Makes a Wish, Chapter 17. Billy woke up early in the morning to a loud sound. He'd heard the sound before. It was a siren. At first he thought the siren was part of a dream, but he was awake and the siren didn't stop. It seemed to get louder and closer. Before Billy could think what to do, Mama and Sally were beside his bed. "Don't worry," said Mama. "Let's go. We should go outside, but don't worry. There's nothing to worry about." "What's happening?" asked Sal. The fire truck is coming," said "What's happening?" asked Billy. "A fire truck is coming," said Sal. "Is our house on fire?" asked Billy. "Sort of," Mom replied as she hurried Billy and Sal through the house and out to the yard. "But don't worry, it's nothing. It's just the chimney." Miss Metcalf was on the front walk with her dog Winker, and Miss Metcalf was looking up. When Billy looked up, he could see flames coming out of the chimney. The flames, like orange flags, popped out of the chimney, snapped and swayed when it disappeared, again and again. Thin plumes of black smoke rose up and trailed off, blending into the sky, which was still dim, but started to lighten. Everything seemed to be happening at once. Billy was trying to make sense of it. Miss Metcalf was talking to Mama. He heard Miss Metcalf say that she'd seen smoke when she was walking Winker. She'd called 911. He heard Mama tell Miss Metcalf that she'd had a fire in the fireplace, that she was sure it was just a chimney fire. 2 fire trucks and an ambulance pulled up in front of Billy's house, and the fire trucks were enormous and nearly took up the entire block. There was a lot of firefighters in full firefighting gear. 2 firefighters talked to Mama. Some went into the house. Others got ladders from the trucks and placed them against the house. More neighbors gathered in the yard and on the street. There was movement and noise all around. The firefighters were in constant motion, on the roof, off the roof, in the house, out of the house. They were like bees buzzing about a hive. Billy watched intently. How long? It felt like forever, but it also felt like there were minutes of a movie sped up, made to run faster than normal. For a moment, Billy had the sensation that the most awful thing was going to happen and that there was absolutely nothing that they could do about it. He felt lightheaded and dizzy. His mind jumped beyond what was actually happening to a full-blown blaze engulfing the house. More time passed. Just when it seemed that all was helpless, Mama was right next to him. She had always been, and Sal was too, and he felt the weight of Mama's hands on his shoulders, and he somehow knew that everything would be okay. "What's happening?" Billy asked. "Everything's fine," said Mama. Her voice was gentle and firm, and Billy knew it must be true. But he still had questions. He looked at Mama expectantly. "I know this all seems scary," said Mama, "with 2 fire trucks and an ambulance and the sirens and the firefighters, but it really isn't a big deal, and it's over. But I didn't see any water. They didn't use the big fire hoses." "They didn't need to?" "It was a chimney fire, and the water would have cracked the chimney. One of the firefighters told me they used dry chemicals." And Mama said, "And when they closed the flue, the fire went out." "The fire was that small." "Will it happen again?" "And what made the chimney start a fire in the first place?" "Something called creosote builds up in the chimney over time, and that's what catches on fire and burns whenever there's a fire in the fireplace. But we'll get the chimney cleaned, and it won't happen again. An easy fix," said Mama. Billy glanced around. The flames and the smoke were gone. The firefighters had come down from the roof. Most of the neighbors had scattered, and the birds were performing their morning songs. Now the sky was orange and pink. Billy had realized that he still had his pajamas on. He shuddered. There was something Billy still didn't understand. He didn't understand why there had been a fire in the fireplace in summer, so early in the morning to start with. He asked Mama. "It was my fault," said Mama. "I did something stupid, so stupid." "You did?" asked Billy. He rarely thought of Mama or Papa doing anything stupid, except for writing love letters. "I did. I got up early, and it was because it was so cool outside. I decided that I'd burn all those letters, so I got a fire going in the fireplace, and one by one I burned them all." Mama shook her head as if to erase the whole incident. "Bad idea." Sal, who had been silent for a long time, sprang to life. "You burned the love letters?" Mama nodded. "Now I'll never know what they say." Sal seemed genuinely disappointed. Mama hunched her shoulders. She drew her lips into a tight, thin line. The 3 of them stood quietly facing the house. Nothing was really different, but everything felt different. Before the firefighters left, one named Tim showed Billy his thermal imaging camera. We used it in your attic and throughout your house to make sure there were no hot spots," he explained. "No risk of more fire. You're all safe. And remember, don't ever burn loose paper in your fireplace again," he reminded. "And get your chimney cleaned." The firefighter trucks roared away with shiny red dragons. Now the yard was empty. Miss Metcalf and Winker had been the last to go. Billy yawned without his knowing it, and his fear had turned into something else. A good feeling. He could hardly believe it. 2 fire trucks and ambulance had come to his house. His very own house. He didn't think many people could make that claim. He couldn't wait to tell Papa. And Papa was coming home today. He'd nearly forgotten. Billy couldn't wait to see Papa. This feeling overpowered everything else, even his worries. He wasn't worried that everything else exciting would happen. In fact, he had so many exciting things happening in the last few days, he thought that maybe his share, and that nothing exciting would ever happen to him again. And that's chapter 17.